My name's Eric. I've been at Grace Point for about 9 years.
My name's Carol Brandt, and I've been coming to Grace Point for about 7 years.
I'm Charlie Barnes, and I've been coming to Grace Point for about 4 months.
When we started going to Grace Point, we were looking for a church and we were looking for a place to go sit on Sundays. And we realized pretty quickly that it was a lot more than going on Sundays. Grace Point has really challenged us to get out of our comfort zone.
Just made me a lot more aware of other people around me, and not just in the church, but outside the church.
My neighbor, for me, is whoever I happen to be with in the moment.
For me, I realized, how can you love your neighbor if you don't even know your neighbor? And how can I help them if I don't know what their needs are? The first step, I think, was Kyle's sermon years and years ago, and it was a Sunday, and he was talking about National Night Out. I had never heard of it, but he encouraged us to have a little block party and invite neighbors, and so I literally printed out some full sheets and cut them with scissors and made about 20 flyers and handed them out to the neighbors around us.
I started looking for opportunities where I could reach out to people, and a lot of times it's not about reaching out to them and going right into the gospel message. I find that a lot of times you have to build that relationship first.
I work with an outfit called Jeff Bonner R&D. We make aerospace and aviation luxury aircraft furnishings. In a work environment like that, it is a mission field. You spend a lot of your time with the same people day in and day out, and you get to know them, but you don't get to help carry their load.
I was that quiet kid in high school. I really don't like talking to people, especially strangers. And at the same time, I had this desire to be a part of a community and to know my neighbors, kind of like it was in what I always hear about the 50s. And once I got out there and met some people, and they're nice people and nobody's really mean to you, so it wasn't that big a deal to go knock on some doors and hand out some flyers, and if people didn't want to show up, they didn't want to show up.
All it takes sometimes is just a simple, how are you doing? One gentleman in particular comes to mind. He never smiled. I worked there seriously for 4 years. Never saw the guy smile. In fact, most of the employees of the environment were afraid to engage with him. And one day I was given the opportunity to ask him one-on-one, what's wrong? What's troubling you? How come you never smile? But stepping out, the guy just started to break down in front of me and confessed to me that him and his wife were having some marriage problems.
I want to be there when they get to that point where they do want to discuss this. Maybe it's just a spiritual breakthrough for them. Maybe it's because something has happened in their life. And I want to be there. And even now, when they have a hard time coming up or something is being difficult for them, I still always say, I'm going to pray for you. And even though they don't have that faith in Christ per se, they always appreciate that.
And just from those moments, I was given the chance to follow up with him with baby steps for the next several days, just to ask him how he was doing and if he had any way of sharing what was in his heart. And long story short, I was able to get him and his wife to commit to the Reengage program, and it changed their lives. Out of that, they became believers. And out of that, true restoration came to the whole family. People at work were coming up to him and myself asking, what happened to Jesus?
It's just a matter of pushing past that uncomfortable feeling that we all have when we're talking to somebody that we don't know.
I don't like to sit on the sidelines. I want to see what he has to offer.
How many neighbors can you name right now?
I could name Jerry and Anita, Marcy, Chad, Mike, Christian, Maria, I don't know them, Melody, I don't know them. There's Carol, Chuck, and Shannon, and Steve Elledge behind us.